was real depressed, dog, almost called it quits. Looked a man in the mirror and was talking shit. Had my girl minding me, Mark, you got a gift. In my heart, watch me open up as I rip. My true feeling some rappers think is not cool. Back against the wall, I'm thinking, what will Pop do?
Made me feel comfortable about doing this interview here. I don't know if you've seen, but did you see that recent Drake interview? That was like 2 hours long. He did it at his crib. And then I seen this Tupac interview.
Literally.
Holler at Daniela.
Let's talk about your social media. So you were expressing how there's some sort of a difficulty with.
Yeah, I suck at social media, but like one of the things I'm like good at is like every time I put out a song or whatever, those are like the only times I get like real reactions and shit. So outside of the music, I'm like pretty trash at it. Yeah, I got Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, all that good shit, and yeah.
We'll plug it up.
Oh yeah. Instagram, Marc The Protege, and that's Marc with a C. MarcTheProtege. That's Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all that. It's all the same. There's no underscores, no nothing. It's all together. I make it easier. I know some rappers put little underscore yada 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 or da 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 da, pound sign, gangsta gangsta. You know what I'm saying? Yada yada yada. But it's Marc The Protege. We just astral projected with our third eye right now.
Okay, so let's tell them what we're drinking.
We are drinking some Stella Rosa. I'm just the past year or so, like, I actually like got into the wines and whatnot. So yeah, man.
Tastes like juice.
Yeah, I'm putting her on. She wasn't too familiar just yet. She's still at that stage where she's just down in tequila and you know what I'm saying, and brown liquors or whatnot. So I was like, let's try something different, man. So we sipping on some Stella Rosa right now, feeling the vibe, getting it in.
Where did you grow up?
Born and raised in Rosenberg and Richmond, Texas. And that's two different cities, but a lot of people call it one city. It's Twin City, whatever. But Rosenberg, Texas, Richmond, Texas, where I'm from. Born and raised. Spent some time in Houston growing up. Whenever I would go to my dad's crib, he stayed out in A-Leaf here and there. And yeah, Rosenberg and Richmond, small town raised. So.
Is your family from here?
Yeah. As far as no. My mom, she was born in Mexico. Came out here. She was the oldest. So she was the one that was doing all the bilingual shit for her family. Every time they would go in stores and shit, she was like the head of the household at a young age. You know what I'm saying? As far as like coming to America and all that shit, you know, she took that role. My pops, born and raised in Richmond.
Okay.
Like OG type of dude, street type of dude. So I got like the best of both worlds. Like two different people, but it made me who I am. So.
Where did you go to high school?
I went to Lamar Consolidated High School. I wasn't necessarily. It's in Rosenberg. It's not necessarily like I wasn't necessarily like the coolest dude in high school. I was like posted up and chilling, and I would be that guy. I would be that dude that had like his hoodie on and would like just be writing raps in the corner and shit, and nobody like really fucked with me.
Right.
Every now and then I would be like a class clown, but I had like a handful of friends and shit.
Right.
But yeah, pretty cool school.
Okay. Do you have any college education?
Yeah, I went to Wharton County Junior College. I think they have more like bases in different areas. I know for sure they have one in Richmond, and I went to that one, and like I did like about a year there, and then I dipped. It just wasn't for me.
Really?
Yeah, like something about just showing up and just I don't know, something about the education system there. And this is no offense to anybody that goes to college, like everybody each his own, you know what I'm saying, but for me it just was it was boring. It wasn't for me. So I'm at a place where if it isn't for me, I don't do it. So
right,
you know, but to each his own. Everybody is doing it. Like I know some people that finished college and did it, and they are doing very well with themselves. I'm not promoting like drop out. I'm not promoting nah, man, if it's for you, do it. Unfortunately I just had different interests and whatnot.
I agree. I went to college obviously, and when I ask people about their experience with college, they're like, nah man, like nah, you know. But with me too, it's like the same way. Like I feel the same way about college. I actually would probably encourage my kids not to go to college. Yeah,
if anything, just like encourage, just do whatever you want. We only have one life. I didn't find much interest in the education system, and I didn't find people like me whenever I did go to certain schools or whatever. But at the same time, outside of that, I developed real friends and all that other shit. And yeah, personal happiness is everything. Just make sure you're secure in everything you do. Yeah.
Is college was that where you began music, or was it
Nah.
as a kid?
It all started when I was like a kid. I wasn't even like a teenager yet. I had seen 8 Mile. And once I seen the movie 8 Mile, you know what I'm talking about, the one with Eminem?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Once I had seen that, I just saw like a story that I related to. Not necessarily like financially or household wise, because it wasn't that that intense in my household. But I saw the outcastness of Eminem in that movie. And I was like, you know what? Like, he seemed like he used that as an outlet. And he also stood out because of his skin or whatever. But he used that as his outlet, and then he ended up becoming the Eminem we know now. And growing up, I wanted to do sports, but I mean, you can't see right now, but if I was a stand-up, I'm short as shit. Yeah. And like, I wanted to go that route, but it got to a point when I was like 12 or 13, and I actually started like trying out for that shit. I just wasn't successful as the big dudes. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just wasn't happening. And so I said, you know what? Here's a lane that I see someone who I relate to doing something. I just seen the movie, and I was like, let me try it. I've always loved hip-hop, but I never cared to be a creator till I was like 11 or 12. I went home, I rap battled my sister, because we had just seen the movie, so me and her are rap battling, going back and forth, dissing each other and shit. And then and from there, I literally would just keep it to myself, and I would just write raps at like 12 years old. It was trash, it sucked, you know what I'm saying? But
we all have to start somewhere.
Oh, you have to. I remember hiding that shit from like family members and all that, because anytime like a friend or family member would pick it up, it would be looked at as like a joke. You know what I'm saying? Like, it would be like, like what are you gonna do with that? Like, what do you have to talk about? Like, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, man. So that's where it started.
How long have you been doing music, would you say?
Professionally, as far as like actually like putting together, like being in the studio and recording, because before it would just be like just me writing. You know, I wouldn't even write to a beat. So at like 11 or 12, I was not in the studio. I wasn't doing none of that shit. Probably shit, man. I remember, let's see, I had this high school talent show, and then I went to go record something for it. So I was like senior year, I was like 17, 18 when I actually got in the studio. Mm-hmm. So around that time period is when I started recording my first music. It wasn't good. It's terrible. I mean, nobody will ever hear it unless like someone like just happens to leak some shit that I may have put on CD passing out or whatever. But so let's see, almost a decade now. I'm 27, so that seems about the right time frame that I've been like trying to structure songs in the studio and work with a producer or whatever.
What is your experience with working with music? Like, so obviously you know how to write, you know how to rap, do you know how to mix and things like that?
No, I if I could go back, I would have learned how to mix, I would have learned how to record, I would have learned all that. But I was so focused on writing and the structure of a song and learning what makes a hook catchy, what makes a verse catchy, how can I tell my story but still get people listening to it and jamming it compared to hearing my story and just be bored. There's a lot of rappers that could tell you a whole story, but you just won't jam it. But yet, if someone tells you, "Hey, turn up, let's get it," you jam into that. So I try to focus on the structure of making a song making music that people can listen to. And it took so much of my time of just writing. But if I knew that I had all the time in the world, I'm 27 now, and I'm barely starting to get to a point where I'm like really, really confident in songs I release and all that. But if I knew I had all that time to do, I would have went back and learned how to mix. I would have went back and learned how to record. I would have probably even made my own studio and all that shit, you know. So it definitely would have saved me a lot of money. One of my homies that actually like kind of brought me in the studio at an early age, he actually tried showing me, but I just told him it just wasn't my interest, and I just focused on the writing.
Do you think that may hurt your career in the future?
Yes and no. I'm gonna say yes financially, You know what I'm saying? Depending where it goes, I mean, if I'm still independent and doing what I gotta do, then yeah, financially it's gonna suck. Like you gotta pay these engineers, you gotta pay yada yada yada. Like if I could go back, I would have made beats, but I pay people to give me beats and yada yada yada. So financially, if you're independent, I would say yeah, it could financially hurt you. But I mean, we'll just have to see where it goes. I mean, now that I know that there's nothing but time, that's something that I can still pick up on.
Right.
So right now I'm getting close to the point where I feel like I'm finding my sound with the writing, and I'm finding my sound with my voice and all that shit. Like I'm understanding what people like about me and yada yada yada, what I like to hear more than anything. And now that we're getting past that point, I might have some time to put to the side to learn how to make beats, to learn how to mix, to learn how to do all these things. So it'll come together.
To my demons if they want it on sight. Can't afford me a shrink, but at least I could write. Let's get it.
Rolling on E, but none of that really matters if you never saw that you're weak. Pussies wanna back down slowly, I creep.